Ladies and gentlemen, today's subject, I'm moving, and I feel sad. Now, right before the sad music starts to play, let's just take a moment of the many memories created from this room. Wait, that's not sad music. Well, the same way that I'm thinking anyway. Whatever, I can do this. I can make this work. Hello and welcome to another episode of Critiquing the Critics, where I, critique the critics. And apparently this is my new location. Today's actual subject, Apollo Z hacks the Hackdown.
The date is irrelevant. The file number is 003, and the name is Apollo Z.
Let me pitch it to you. The Hackdown has Apollo reviewing cult films, with a slight preference toward reviewing tokusatsu films, which are like Power Rangers films except less gay. He also has done at least one miniseries, so it's not like he's doing movies exclusively. The movies he reviews are so cultish that even I haven't seen any of these films. But alas, Apollo comes along and now I want to see all of them. To me, great critics inspire you. They make you interested in subjects that you usually might not be interested in. Today, I'd say the best critics in terms of actual critiquing that I've covered are the movie preview critic and the happy video game nerd. Now, Apollo Z Hack is definitely one of them, because his critiquing is phenomenal. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these types of films, don't fret. Apollo puts in enough context and information to where you feel you know everything that you need to know. His reviews are accessible to everyone while not being stuffy with too much info. So fans of what's being reviewed won't be bored to tears by hearing things that they've heard before. Apollo strikes the perfect balance between the two, so everyone is happy. He continues to impress me with his vocabulary. He knows all of the right terminology as well as how to use words and phrases to maximum effect. The articulation is meticulous but not pompous, although I'll explain why when we get to his delivery. Another aspect that surprises me is that he'll come back to a past point and use completely different words to explain the same point. So he never becomes redundant in his word use either. Don't worry though, he doesn't spew incomprehensible critical jargon either. Everything is easy to understand, but his criticisms are rich with detail.
And in speaking of student films, the makers of this one pull out my favorite card. It's all art! Oh my gods, how I love this shit. You take a film that doesn't make a lick of sense, but that's okay because it's art and it has some deep, pretentious meaning. It's the ultimate excuse for poor storytelling. And the real sad fact is that a lot of people buy into it. Invoking religious imagery and nomenclature, artsy pretentious pricks are going to have a field day with all the ambiguous, mean-nothing crap Hackdown throws their way. I blame it on the fact that they went with this reverse justice angle. The good guys look like villains, the bad guys the exact opposite as they don heavenly white. Hey, it makes sense from an aesthetic perspective since our hero was known as a villain in this previous incarnation. But rather than just leaving it at that, they had to dig deeper and make Hackdown look like something more than it really is, a robot ass-kicking spectacle. Which, let's be honest, is pretty much the only reason why anybody would watch a movie called Mechanical Violator Hackdown.
Once again, the perfect balance. Now let's talk about the actual content in his reviews. He covers the plot, the characters, the acting, the visuals, the pacing, the score, and whatever else needs to be noticed within the film. He reviews movies that he likes, but makes sure that he doesn't review films that he likes too much. Each of the films he covers have a lot of good and a lot of bad about them, and he makes sure to use that, showing off his critical range.
Avalon's excitement comes from the eye candy it throws at us and the sweet noise it lays upon our ears, and not so much the deliberately slow, character-motivated story. Avalon is not a sci-fi action movie, but a straight-up drama with action peppered throughout. Things get slow when we follow our heroine Ash in the real world, as she prepares dog food and searches for answers regarding Special A. It only picks up when she jacks into the levels of Avalon where things get much more exciting. I mean, it's frackin' obvious that they're contrasting between the boredom of real life in comparison to the game world, and that's really well done, but, you know, it's not really riveting drama.
One thing that is unique is that he ends his reviews with information as to how you can find these movies or shows, which is especially helpful if they're rare, which, yeah, a lot of these are. His delivery deserves praise as well. When informing us, Apollo seems very natural. When I said that he was meticulous but not pompous in his articulation, I mean he sounds like he would be using these words when describing the movies to anyone. In contrast to sounding like he's just looking on Wiktionary to learn about fancy words and how to say them for the sake of saying fancy words, like me. Wiktionary, here we come. The. What was that? The. Alrighty. It is. Yeah, you know me. Big fancy words, Blake. There is some humor. Sometimes the reviews will begin and end with a sketch, but he doesn't do it to the point where it becomes a red flag. Other times he'll just sprinkle a little bit of comedy in his reviews so that they don't become dry, using the movie's goofy moments especially to lighten things up. He isn't as funny as other criticism-oriented guys, like Acorn Films and Nerd with Words, but he's funny enough. And to be fair, I don't think he's really meant to be that funny in the Hackdown. The technicals, as expected, are top-notch. There's a great use of clips, the video is pristine, and the camera is framed perfectly. I love his background props. Space Godzilla, no, why have you betrayed me? And why are you hanging out with Genozilla? Okay. I mean, look at all these Kaiju and Godzilla toys. Well, I have a Godzilla collection too, so there. Apollo, you're a douche. Moving on, the audio is clear and the editing is fast, his reviews being around 10 minutes long.
Jay is a brighter green than Zeddo was, and trades the gold leaf-like design that outlined Zeddo for the streamlined streaks of various greens, most likely chosen to echo the film's ecological Save the Earth themes. The beastly adversaries Jay has to face off with are extremely varied, going everything from a four-legged carnivorous Adasaur thing to a biomechanical behemoth tank. I dig Garai and Agito the most. Garai is a mechanical lightsword-swinging robot Cobra Man. He doesn't do much other than being a nasty obstacle for Jay to get through, but hey, that's okay, he looks cool. Agito, the lizard man creature, is nifty if just for the sake it's a classic Japanese man-in-suit quadruped kaiju. The design flaw of having the suit actor crawl around on his hands and knees is totally nostalgic for me. It's Anguirus all over again.
Yeah, what he has that most reviewers lack is his use of music, usually the film's score, which actually creates a sense of mood for his reviews.
Kick CGI to the curb and come with me to a more practical world of wood and thread. You'll see war, you'll see love, you'll see monsters and naked chicks. Oh, Strings has it all.
Yes, you can actually do that for reviews, apparently. In fact, this is probably the only time I've seen, at least, that the use of music adds to the criticisms, because it seems to amplify what he's saying. All in all, I'd say the Hackdown is about as perfect as a review show can be. The best kind of reviewers, as I said, make you excited about their subject, and I was fascinated with Apollo's reviews. I certainly intend to check all these movies out. 4 out of 4 stars. But we ain't done with the hack yet. Stay tuned next time where we review his other show, The Reviewaverse. My name is Marshall Horror, and I'm here to tell you that those who cannot do, critique.
Bananas in pajamas.